quiet and attentive, they demonstrate that they value this behavior and do not take it for granted.
Thank you, and I appreciate those who are listening and sitting nice and tall. Just like a team, you're thinking and helping us. You're smart, all right. Here's your choices. Frederick, thank you. You're going to know exactly what your choices are. Denser, thank you. Daniel, thank you. Ida, Con, thank you.
I know that eye look.
Yeah, we yeah, she's smiling.
I like how she does it with humour though.
So how do you think that sort of smile, stare, smile works in this situation?
You don't even need language sometimes, you just is like, you know it and I know it and let's,
let's fix it. That's the thing, it's like, look, I'm not going to call you out, but you know I can see what you're doing.
I think if you don't lose them that way, like if you tell them off, they're like then they're not going to be engaged. This way they're like, oh okay, yes, they're still buying them.
And that smile makes the difference, doesn't it? So, what do you think is the value of waiting rather than giving a verbal command? Because you notice she waited there a while. What needs to happen?
I think it also shows them like patience is a virtue, and it shows them like she's good, she's keeping her cool, she's just waiting. It creates a really calm atmosphere.
Yeah. And that could support the different students you have in your classroom.
Like I have a kid in my class, if I raise my voice, he cries. He just does not like shouting or anything. And so I've had to work on my voice, and not that I yell a lot, but it's the tone and explaining I'm raising my voice not from anger, just from projection, so everyone can hear it.
She's also earning their respect by not talking over them.
Yeah.
No, so they're like, oh, okay, she's waiting. She means like she's is reinforcing her expectations, which is really important.
So, coaching involves using descriptive comments to highlight specific learning skills. You can mention them here. The teacher enters the child's world and narrates the student's ideas through thoughts and interests. And we talked about doing that at different levels. And what we're doing is we're really focusing attention on the learning process that child is working on at that moment. It doesn't include questions, commands, or corrections. And as you're saying, it does feel very unnatural to start off with, particularly with the older children. I think with younger children, we kind of almost instinctively do it, especially with a very, like a toddler. You often find that you're doing it without even realising. But as the children get older, I think it feels more and more, perhaps you do it less. So, you need to think more consciously about it. So we might be good at doing this with academic tasks, but what we'd like to do is focus on social and emotional competencies too. And these link really nicely with our key competencies. So I want you to think about the time that you reinforce social and emotional behaviours rather than academic behaviours. So can I ask first of all, how do you feel about social and emotional competence and its importance compared with academic competence? So just be thinking about that for a moment. Social and emotional competence, is it just as important as academic competence? Any thoughts?
So for my class, I think the kids know that I value that over the academics because we've got such a big class and there's so many of them. We talk lots about what we need to do to then get along with each other.
Lovely, yes, yeah. Any other thoughts about the relationship?
And I guess children can't learn best if they're not emotionally regulated. So that, if something's going on, that needs to be addressed before they can listen and focus and learn. Yeah. So it is really important.
That's a gem, because actually to be able to learn, your brain needs to be engaged and you need to be calm.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
But as teachers or whatever else about is where they're sitting
Reading, writing, and
and when they ever ask about how they're behaving in class.
Or we're not
our school's starting to report on it through progressions, very early days, but in terms of how it's valued outside of,
How are they going about asking you guys? Is it in the course or is it?
it's in we have school talks, we have progressions and we mark them off at different percentages and write a comment. There's like goals that go with each one.
Termly?
We're supposed to. But then like the junior one is about how I take turns. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a year one goal, yet we still need that up
Yeah.
to year eight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we're
So it's
doing a
not
lot
quite.
with Mighty as well and building on that as well. So definitely their emotional regulation and their well-being. So we have a big focus in the school at the moment with that.
So just the overall how order.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we have a whole order survey that we do from year 4 to 8, 5 to 8. 3 to 8 to whare tapawhā survey, and we look at their emotional and health well-being.
I remember when I was in intermediate, and I'm from Christchurch, so it wasn't very, there wasn't a lot of Māori, and there wasn't a lot of like, all of that inclusivity like there is up here. But when in intermediate, when I found out what Haora was and the house and the doors and everything, and how it all related, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Like, yeah, I need this and this to have this, and I wish I'd learnt that younger. And it is, that was something I still hold today. That's cool that you guys do something.
Perfect, okay. So, did you want to do
Yeah, I'm just endeavouring to make your life a little bit easier.
What are you?
Because we're trying to get to,
We've lost the menu for some reason, so we can't
Yes.
say that.
we're trying to get to a supplementary, and I'm not quite sure how we
Yeah.
get there.
Did you get sneaky peeks? No. Yeah, I mean, we don't know how many.
Because we've got a slightly different machine today, and this machine doesn't like to take us back to the new, it likes to play through new stuff. And it might just take some me pressing the wrong button, like other. I might get you to just skip through, Julie, while I make this, so I can get like right at the end.
So far, we have been looking at the use of
So in the next vignette, what we're going to see is an adult working with a small group, and they're going to be a social coach. So we've talked a little bit about coaching and how we can use it in different ways. So we're going to be focusing on coaching in this one. So we're looking for S10.
That's 12.
There we go.
That's 13.
One of the ways.
So basically what it means is
I
social
have nightmares
coaching.
left.
Social coaching, let me have another go. Social coaching is when you're highlighting and making obvious to the child what skills they're using, and it has the benefit of reinforcing those skills. So just while I have a look, can you just have a little chat with the person next to you about how you might be already doing this in your space? So when are you noticing students do really good things socially, and how are you making that known to them? So have a little think, have a chat with the person sitting next to you just while I sort this out.
Like the one that was standing quietly and waiting patiently.
What are you doing a great job sharing your
I'd like
thoughts?
to use that more.
For example, and if it starts to all the rules of this.
Yeah, no, I noticed it as well. Coming from year 1 to senior group 4, I'm finding it harder to, and it's a lot
When
of
you
it
look-
is how do you give praise to a child that will give you action?
I call the idea sometimes.
No, that's what I find out.
And it's like I say, it's
And
this
then
Next vignette is a good
bringing it up. Like you,
yeah,
you have
obviously
chunks of
children
this
that
class,
are
so
very
to meet with the
involved.
parents and, oh, I see.
Or you just, or parents who make them to engage, they just
That's
absorb.
right, how interactions, so just because the kids can't encourage each other out next to them. How about you?
That's not how we speak, I understand that for the frustrating, but that would relate to you.
Giving children positive,
Do you want to just have a little go at sharing any ideas that you
giving,
You want I wanted to put in the way that I
Everyone, that's universal, right?
Do the teacher.
Yeah, just a small thing.
and it's like having a chance to like justify I do all three.
How old is
So there's only anyone?
Nah, well, normally it does have a
It's like a lady
But I have used I used it I had highest places on my whiteboard at my last school, so I just
Sometimes
there's no way to like hide it up high, so I used to have it written on the back. But I just don't think we should want it well for a time. So I was doing in a single function.
Wano, you're doing a great job sharing your trust.
You can always think of this kind of teacher encouragement.
That was luck. That was blind luck, guys. No idea how I did that. Couldn't do it again. So sorry for technical difficulties. Thank you for sharing. Did anyone have any gems that were shared with you, or that you thought you might like to share with the group just before we watch our excellent video about when you're doing that already in your space?
Jessie has a really lovely you might have shared it last time. I think I may have, but it's just I have a gem jar, and so there's a jar full of gems just from Look Sharp, different diamond, crystal looking things, and a little treasure chest. And when they want to acknowledge their awesomeness, they put a gem in the jar.
Beautiful.
And it could be first thing in the morning, they come straight in and they've got a gem to put in the jar. They don't have to tell anyone what it's about, and if at any point in the day, as long as I'm not talking. If I'm talking, they have to stay. And then if I've acknowledged them, like, oh my gosh, that's gem worthy, and then I'm like, you can keep that gem. That was so good, just keep it, and they get to take it home.
Oh.
I remember when I was a kid, you'd get these treasures, and it was so. It had the same weight as gold when you're a kid, and so it was nice to see them go.
That's so lovely.
What sort of gems do they have?
They're just little plastic thingies from
Yes.
Look
I
Sharp.
was wondering what sort of gems do they have that they might share?
Oh, it would be anything that they're acknowledging, like, wow, I shared really well with my learning, or I got a sticker if they were with a learning assistant, they came in and they got a sticker, and kids do that. But if they got, if their team won in football on the weekend, I'd encourage them to put a gem in the jar. It doesn't have to be like a them thing, it can be a team thing. Just anything. Or even if they just feel like doing it. I don't ask, so they just do it themselves.
Nice.
And that self-acknowledgement as well, changing that.
We went to a really awesome talk. I don't remember the lady's name, but we do value vouchers at our school, and she was mentioning how that is great, but it is based on us. It's based on our criteria for the excellence, not on their own not on their own. So if they've met our criteria, they get a value voucher, but that's not achievable for everyone. And this way, everyone can feel like a winner because it's accessible to everyone. No questions asked.
And they're noticing as well, which I think is really good, noticing themselves, aren't they, and the things they're doing well.
Totally. And I've had several parents within the class put gem jars in their own homes.
Oh, lovely.
So cool. Yeah. Feel free to steal it.
Yeah,
It's so
cool.
easy, and just seeing if they change in your class, which is
Cool. Thanks for sharing.
Value for that, that's lovely.
Yeah. So now we've got the video, so we're going to be watching someone doing some social coaching. While we're watching, have a think about how this could build some social skills in learners.
Children. In the next scene, watch how this teacher does this with a boy who has politely asked another boy to give him a truck. But the other boy doesn't oblige initially.
Wano, you are doing a good job waiting for a turn. Wano, you are being so patient. Give me a high five. You are waiting for a turn. Wano, you are being so strong right now. You're being such a good friend, waiting for a turn. And I heard you ask Jordan for a turn with the truck. Way to go.
Lovely. So how does this approach work to promote friendship skills?
I think they're acknowledging the learner that's waiting, but also trying to get the attention of the person that has not come to the truck.
Yeah. That's actually a gem as well. That's a gem. That's called proximal praise.
Yep.
So when you're praising the person next to the person who's not quite doing what they're doing.
Yep.
Beautiful. Love that.
I
So
still
that's
have to
definite
take
gem.
my kids. Well done, you're doing so well waiting for that swing. Like, come on, mum, get back in.
Beautiful. Some proximal praise there. Love that.
I think it kept everyone quite calm, like that kid who's like, okay, yep. I love when I do that and you get the kid who's waiting like, yeah, I am.
Yeah, I have a few that if they're like, fine, do you see me? I was being so kind. I gave them a pencil. I was so kind. I was like, you are being kind. Well done.
My 3-year-old does that, and then she goes and pushes her brother over. So. Yes, you were kind before you pushed your brother. Nice. So just going to indicate a page in your textbook to you. You don't have to read it now, but that is page 150. What? 151. So just pop a little post-it, and that's around modelling, prompting, coaching, social coaching. And you can have another look at that at another time. You've already got some. Cool.
We're going to do a bit more. We're going to take a blue.
Yeah. 151.
We had a year, when WW was in year 5.
Yep.
We had a social skills program by
Yep.
Other people got more out of it.
Yeah, he's doing a he's working with Karen at the moment in the social skills. Him and Gabby are doing it, the separate them.
Yes. Yes, I can see that coming.
Jenny's just alluded to that there's also a little bit on 152. So if you want to put another post-it there, you may.
That's modelling.
That's around
Coaching,
modelling.
practicing feedback.
I'll just turn the page.
Okay. So our next little thing that we're going to do, and we just want to welcome in Sarah, who has come to join us while Wendy has looked on.
We often get confused. So
So she's just come to help us out while Wendy's off at a employee and she's going to be back shortly. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do another one of our little fish bowls. And we have shoulder tapped a few people. We've had one lovely volunteer for a teacher as well, I believe. Richard? Yes, thank you so much, everybody. And everyone will get a turn at being in the fish bowl. So if you haven't had a turn already, it is coming. But nothing to be afraid of because we're going to scaffold through it. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be looking at a situation really similar to what we've just seen. Slightly different activity, but that's okay. And we're going to be having a look at how the teacher can be using some social coaching to help the student persevere with something that can be a little bit tricky. Okay? So I'll put them in describe. What we'll do is we'll just get some ideas first and we'll pop them down and then we'll all be ready to go. I love that people are so excited. Yeah. So our scenarios, we've got 2 children working on a difficult task. And the difficult task, I don't know if anyone's seen canagrams before?
Yeah.
Canagrams. And we've got one student who's working really well and is really focused and perseveres. And we've got another student who's trying hard but finds it a little bit tricky to work with their peers and share. Okay, I'm sure it's a situation we've all found ourselves in. And the teacher's going to do some social coaching around how to get the student to keep persisting and to share. So what will you see the teacher doing and saying? Oh, should we start with the students? What will we do what will you see students doing or saying if they are not feeling like they can do a task or they're not sharing well? What kind of things might we see or hear?
Snatching. I can't do this.
Yeah, I was
This
thinking
is
that.
mine.
self-talk.
Yeah, this is mine,
This
I
is
can't
boring.
do this.
Tears, maybe.
Yeah, why do we have to do
Not
it?
saying.
Yeah,
Just not doing anything at all, let the other person do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So not doing anything at all. That's mine, beautiful.
Crying.
Doing nothing, crying, yep.
Or like clenched, like tight.
Yeah, so they might be quite tense
Yeah.
with their body language.
Doing
Beautiful.
something completely different with it instead.
Avoiding,
Yeah, doing something completely different.
Needing a bathroom.
Storming off.
all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was that good. I think I would
Yeah. Beautiful. And what about for the teacher? What are some things that you could say as a teacher to coach that student? What are some coaching statements that you could have up your sleeve to help them with assisting with the task?
Acknowledging like, oh, this is hard, isn't it? Getting into their shoes. Modeling. Showing them. Maybe they missed out. Doing like instructions.
It would be, I see that you're finding this really hard. Maybe we can ask your buddy and see if she can give us a few tips.
I love that. Beautiful.
Maybe challenging the child on one small aspect of the task, like I think you can do X, Y, Z. You don't have to do it all, but how about just that one bit, and then maybe it's more achievable.
Yeah, so giving that first little step.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
And for the position, if the teacher would be at the kids' level, like
Can you just repeat that last one?
the teacher to be at the kids' level.
She's got sore legs, just like you know.
That's okay. We can do sitting on chairs.
Great, thank
Okay,
you. We'll
fine.
just imagine that I'm sitting.
Totally fine.
Won't be able to do that.
The other thing I'm going to do is get you to just have a look in your teacher's packs at page 105. And what you're going to find there is some coaching statements that can be used. So have a little squiz through, and if you think there's any that we could pop up onto our script, pop them out. So are there any in there that you think, so we've got the student who's, they're not persevering but they're also not sharing. Are there any on there that you think would be relevant for this scenario that we could pop up? So is there a statement on there
Like
that might be?
asking for permission to use something, so you could join in and be like, oh, I see you've got this shape. Can we use that together?
Yes, love that. So, can we use that to do the next part? Cool.
Leaning over. There's one there that says you are so patient, even though it fell down. It's on the other, the emotion coaching.
Oh, yeah.
Did you say that? Yeah, something like that. You know, you are so patient if they're trying hard and it's not working, it fell down, or you tried to fit it in or something like that.
And even to the other student who's working really hard, wow, you're being so patient, waiting your turn.
Yeah.
And then bottom of 103 it says you're thinking hard.
Oh, I love that, you're thinking really hard. Nice. For our teacher, do you feel like you've got enough to go on there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sure.
And you can have that open as well if that's helpful. Cool. So what we might do now is I will set up a chair, one of our students will be on a chair, and that time we'll have a teacher on a chair, and we'll have our observer and our other student come and join us. And so we've got our scenario here. anagrams. And we'll pop that script out too.
Put all the muscles. Okay, I'm on task. You're not sharing.
Okay, are we ready? And action.
Good patience. Oh. I feel like I need to be over there with this one. I'm on the wrong side. So do I have to say all of these things or I can just choose one? Okay. I can see that you're finding this really tricky. Do you think we can ask your buddy for some help? No. Cool. Can I use this one?
Which one?
The purple one.
Why do you need that one?
This one.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Where does the purple one go?
I love the way that you're working together. Awesome helping.
What shape is this one?
That's a triangle.
Maybe we can use a triangle.
What do you think?
Awesome sharing.
Oh, I think we need a different shape.
Beautiful, and scene. Wow, that was really, really good, guys. That's the tricky thing to do as well. It doesn't feel natural at all. So that was really, really well done. Shall we grab some feedback? All right, our observer. What were some great examples that you noticed of social coaching in that little scene that we just saw?
It was very student-led, even if it wasn't necessarily what the teacher wanted to have happen. She still watched them first, and then she did note, okay, I need to maybe go to the other side, like, so, but not saying, no, you come to this, you do that, just letting their interaction go on, even if it wasn't
And stepping
positive.
in. And she stepped in just in case things escalated.
Yeah.
She's calming the situation.
And then acknowledging when they were doing things that she wanted to see.
Yeah, really, really quick to praise those really expected behaviours. Fantastic. So our student who had problems sharing, how did that feel for you?
That was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
And I just found it unnatural not to be working with someone, sharing it.
And did it feel when you were coached on working a bit more together?
Yeah,
how did it feel?
It encouraged me more to actually do what was being said. It's like, oh, okay, I'm getting praise when I actually do this, I'm going to keep doing this.
Nice. And our student who was very studious and cooperative, how did that feel for you?
You could definitely feel the frustration, especially when she turned her body. And I think it was like the big sigh, and the teacher's like, no, I recognize that you're waiting. And then it was like, okay, yeah, teacher's there, I'm gonna try work again. Yeah, whatever.
So encouraging that resilience and persistence for you as well. Fantastic. That was really, really well done. Can we give them all a big hug? And I think a treat for all of those involved, because that was that's not necessarily the easiest one. Beautiful work. Thank you so much. Love a stamp.
A house stamp.
A house stamp. Thank you.
A tree stamp.
And our observer, can't forget our observer.
I feel like
Put a village together now.
Yeah, of course.
Even if they're not friends,
You
if
get
they're
a tree on the family photo, your family picture.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine?
So, just like last time, you're now going to have a little opportunity to practice this in groups. So we should have enough time for a couple of people to have a turn being a teacher. And we always say, if you are part of the fishbowl, you do not have to be the teacher in the next round, okay? You can just sit back and have a little bit of a break, maybe be the observer if you would like to be. So what we're going to do is give out our roll cards. Yes, we are.
I was too busy being tidy.
So, I'm going to give out these. Your group is the colour that you are going to be with. Do not pay any attention to things on the front because we don't need those. Are there other cards for this? Maybe.
That was close. I know. Like it was just yeah, I'm fine. Just, yeah. Oh goodness.
And you can choose which group to put underneath.
It didn't get you, that's my main concern. That it
Wherever you want to be.
lovely. Okay,
Beautiful.
hopefully that one.
So we have our tanagrams down on here, so we've got one for each group. We will leave our scripts out. Oh, beautiful, thank you. Yeah, we'll leave that up there. And we've also got these ones here about the scenario, so I'll pop one over here and one over here, but just move yourselves around as you like. Come and grab yourselves a tanagram. How long, Jeannie, are we going to give for this? 10 minutes. Cool. And we'll do our little bell at 10 minutes so that everybody knows. But yeah.
5 to or 12.
I think 5 to
5 to 12.
Perfect. All right, away you go. Have a go. Decide who's going to be what. Practice that social Oh, thank you so much. I will. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. And the challenge is just getting yourself there. Yeah, exactly. It's worse the second day, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool cheap set of stars of the
You could do it.
So
The next vignette.
Okay.
No.
Can I help? Okay.
They're not doing this yet.
But remember, we're working as a team.
Your own thing. Tonight doing it on your own thing?
Oh, I like how Jen is waiting and asking nicely to join in. This is great teamwork. Remember, it's a group activity. Maybe you guys can pick these. Oh, you can be the group team.
Positive. We don't have any
Let's
start
I think that's like
Right?
so I can't remember who's the child that's not. I'm like, okay, so if I'm asking that child, whereas before
Oh, I like how
in
you
these
organise
asking
it.
the student instantly it comes
So
in.
now we've got
Think about it, right? Yeah.
Like when you're
Maybe you guys can work together.
like when you're
Exactly. I forget how to speak.
because you want to go with
Emily must know where that might go.
It's beautiful. Look at that page of that reminder again. You're thinking
That's
about the
great
script and like who is which child and who you're asking the questions to, but in your own
Well,
heart,
we don't have the
so
right
you don't think
lines.
about it. So it's like actually thinking about it is totally different.
We could cut them up, but remember, we're trying to make sure that we can use these again. What would be another one you might be able to do? Have a look at the page so we can look at the shapes.
You were the teacher, so do you want to be the observer? Yeah, sure. And you were the observer, so do you want to
Have
be
you asked Jen as well?
Okay.
Yes, let's do the big.
So you're building this and you're finding it.
Yes, you might take the sharing part out and
Oh, I like how you're sharing.
And remember those pages in your teacher's pack have got some of the values as well, so you can have that one.
I don't be right when I'm consoling and noticing.
No, that's right. But it also
If you had a go as a teacher, maybe change so one more person gets a chance.
Give it a go.
I do find that the kids sometimes when they're working on some challenges and just try to over by themselves.
And
With
you feel
adults,
when we were getting a
yeah, it's harder with adults.
Yeah, good, yeah, it's motivating.
Yeah.
And the other bit is like,
Yeah, I mean, if
you're not
the
gonna
child
get one
stays with you, then that's great, but if they move themselves to go under the table, they storm off, then, you know, your opportunities.
Yeah, that's right, that's a different,
One to one.
and you will get to that sort of thing. As time goes on, you know what you know.
Well, it's also that where's your grouping coming in, when are you spending time in groups and how are you spreading this?
it's also like 4 other adults in there.
That's right.
And there's also one back here.
Wow, like I know it's really hard, but I'm asking, because you could have just sat there for ages not knowing what to do, you know? Beautiful.
You got 3 things.
Yeah, I give them one here, but they want one with one of our oars.
Yeah, I feel like I can do it.
You guys are so nice to listen to you.
Oh yeah, I agree. Every class has this.
And more like, even just for like the helping of photo sharing, eliminating, preparing resources. Like, imagine if you had a TA. It's actually, I'm like, I don't actually have to. I'm actually learning.
My class is great.
That's all right, but that one was on the wrong. But imagine if you had a TA for like one. Because that's what you coach in the UK. There was a change in your TA to like do all that stuff. I had a TA to help me.
He's a wing.
Who did you teach in the UK? Don't teach in the UK.
Sometimes she like the way you're trained, how other people would also just
It needs to be like lined out.
I did like that.
Otherwise it emerges. Yeah, true. Yeah, we can't do it.
And then
try modeling it.
Alright, if you feel like you've had enough practice, can you come back to us? I'd like all the telegrams back, please. We'll use them again. And the group cards. Thank you so much. And a beautiful file. Thank you so much for your file. Thank you. People already ready to go. Would you like to look around and see one of the big guys? Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Prepare to
I'm okay. It's taking a lot of people to say no each time. What we don't want. No, got 2 more.
I'm not going to get it.
Thank you.
they have a house.
What are your snacks when you're on a...
I have some almonds here at the moment.
Yeah, I'm a dark
Very
as well.
cool.
I'm a bit my issue was I like to make my own food at time, which is work, but I had to make my Friday and
Yeah.
Saturday, and then I was like, oh, I cancel Saturday, but I woke up and it's too late.
I did watch that, you kept it up. I think it was soft.
These are just food. Oh, I can't focus otherwise.
So, just wondering, thank you. People who were in an observing role, can you let us know what some of the coaching statements that you heard that you thought were really, really good were? Any of really good coaching statements that you heard from your teachers? I'm sure there were lots.
I like how you're patiently waiting.
Yeah, beautiful.
When we were sharing, it was I like the way that you're sharing, or I like the way that you're working together.
Yes.
You're using great teamwork.
Yeah.
Yes, lovely. So we identify what they're doing, that behaviour.
Not correcting, but suggesting.
My teacher was stuff that she said, but she also then, okay, I'll try it with you. Oh, it is tricky.
So offering that support and acknowledging that it could be a tricky thing to do. Cool.
Okay, so we're going to look a little bit now at attention. And we've got a little vignette to show you. The teacher in this vignette is on the mat with a group of students for spelling. Can you watch how the teachers in the next scene use their attention strategically? I think it's just this one. And think about what they're teaching their students with this approach. So have a little look at what they're using, how they use their attention strategically and what they're teaching their students.
Teachers in the next scenes use their attention strategically. Think about what they are teaching their students with this approach.
Would you spell it for me? Oh, I'd love to call on you, but I can't do that now. Susan, will you spell mad for me? Where is it? Yes. M A. Excellent. Mad.
I thought you said man as well.
Sorry.
So what do you think was his effect, the effect of his feedback on this child in this
It was
video?
like, don't fall out on the mat. He was like acknowledging, I'd love to do that, but I'm just waiting for you to be a bit more settled.
And so what behaviour do you think he's reinforcing by doing that?
Maybe he did say man and she spelt mad and he still went with it rather than correcting her.
I heard mad.
I heard man.
I guess it's the American accent.
Like reinforcing those high expectations.
Kind of basically probably the class roles together, like putting the hand up to waiting. Okay. So now we're looking a little bit at self-esteem. So I've got Mrs. B for this one. And we're looking at what was the effect of the teachers repeating what the child has said.
So this is Mrs. B and also her student teacher, who we haven't seen, who's Miss Melton.
I think we saw her last week actually, didn't we?
Okay.
Yes, we introduced her last week. Yeah.
Worry that too much praise may be bad for children. Perhaps they feel that students who are praised too often may become conceited or overly confident in their abilities. Perhaps they fear that children may become dependent on praise, a form of external reinforcement. Perhaps they fear that over time, children will need greater and greater amounts of praise in order to achieve the same effect, and fail to develop intrinsic motivation to learn. In fact, just the opposite is true. Research indicates that children who are praised by parents and teachers internalize the positive approval and develop positive self-esteem. They typically feel competent and seem to need less praise in the long run because they have developed confidence in their own unique abilities. This effect is especially likely if children are praised for their efforts and their abilities, rather than for what they achieve. Notice what aspects of the children the teachers praise in the next vignettes.
Griffin? Peak. Peak? Good thinking. That one was a little more difficult. What's a peak?
It's at the top of a mountain, and to peak is a verbal action, is to look very good.
Wow. Good job. Got a dictionary up in his head.
Thinking gap.
Okay, Alex.
So what do you think was the effect of the teacher repeating what the child had said?
Validates what he did, but also means that other people in the class can hear.
Yes, that's that clarification. Okay. And she did some non-verbal responses after he'd spoken. What do you think what impact do you think that had on the child? What effect?
Again, it validates his input and lets him know that he did really well.
The acknowledgement that you can see he's thinking about what's at him. And praising like that confidence, like well done, you put your stuff out there.
Lovely.
You can see that.
Yeah. And it's kind of increased the impact, hasn't it, of the initial? Yeah. So what we're going to, in your...
Can I just jump in there for a minute, you know, I think the teacher aides, this is a really important one, we've got our teacher aides in the room, because they can double the impact, basically, that's what was happening there, wasn't it? Mrs. B doubled the impact of
the student,
of the student teacher, he got it right, she reinforced it, it's doubling the impact, and when we have our teacher aides on board, or the other way around, if the teacher aide is praising, and you come in and go, give me a high five for that, then it's doubling that impact.
Yeah, and we've got some of our teachers working in modern learning environments. Perfect space to do that in, hey? And you probably already do that. I would say most of you guys probably already do that day to day.
Lovely. And there's a page 202, so I don't know if you want to put a little marker on that, all about tailgating. So page 202, you'll see there's a little section about tailgating. So, research has shown that children who receive lots of positive feedback have high self-esteem and become intrinsically motivated, and children with low positive feedback often have low self-esteem and they require those extrinsic motivators. What we're going to do now is have a little look at some persistence coaching.
Cool. So, page 194 of your textbook. I want you to have a turn to. Oh, mine's doing that. Okay. It's either 149 or 145. So little look. What we're looking for is persistence coaching scripts. So it's 145?
Yes. No.
Oh, you
No.
It is
145.
It is 145.
Pick a little reading text.
Beautiful.
And it's persistence.
Here we go. 149, you will find some examples, so some scripts that you can use.
Yeah.
We all managed to find that one. 149, beautiful. So here we can see some examples of behaviours that we can use persistence coaching with, and we already had a little go of that in our little groups. What I want you to do is look at the examples from the text and discuss with just the person sitting next to you how you could use the strategy of persistence coaching in your behaviour plan with your target student. So putting your target student hat on, thinking about that little person in your space, how could you use some of these statements for your student? And if you want to, I can pop some post-its out. If you want to write some of those down so you've got them for your behaviour plan, feel free. One less thing that you have to do later, hey? Just with the person sitting next to you, have a look through together.
Olivia, the persistent. I can see really curious.
I love that. You're curious.
It's not about
You're so
It's all about
Do you want to pop it on a post-it?
I mean, it's like a notes, I mean, if you don't expose the child. If you just, you have to start doing
So hopefully you've got at least one idea down on your post-its. I like to, when I'm trying to focus on a particular statement with the student or a particular type of coaching with the student, I like to put it like on my laptop. So it's the first thing I see when I look at my laptop, and it just gives me a little reminder because often I forget in the busyness of the day. So feel free to take those away, add to them, whatever you need to do. Also in your teacher's pack, just draw my attention to page 108 and 109. There's a little handout in there which supports parents with persistence coaching. So especially if you've got some little learners who might really struggle with resilience and some home stuff might be good, that could be a really cool one to send home to support parents to do some of these things. So just drawing your attention to that. You don't need to read through it, but it is there if you need. We're going to watch the next little vignette. So this is a teacher using persistence coaching with, is it Karain? Karain, I think. I might have the pronunciation wrong. During an art lesson. So the teacher is walking around the classroom looking at children's work.
I'm going to be over there in just a second. I heard you say that you did it. I'm excited to see it.
Nice job, great, nice job.
So I think we missed it, but right at the start, she made a comment and he said, oh, and he sort of acknowledged that comment, which is where we came into the video. What do you think the teacher achieves by overhearing her comment and acknowledging it? So she commented that she'd finished the work.
Oh, and then you came to.
And then,
He's acknowledging her voice.
Making her feel seen.
yeah, very good. He's also acknowledged that she's finished the work too, hey? And that she's using her own judgment to do that. And so acknowledging that by your judgment you're finished and seeing her as a bit of a learner in that space.
Sort of like student agency, like you're finished, now you know what to do next.
Yeah, beautiful. So building that agency. Fantastic. Oh. Jenny, we're going to practice using some coaching statements now.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these cards to put you into, now I'm trying to think with our groupings because we've got 10 people today, like 10 people today, and
how many in each group we have to do?
2 or 3.
We'll go, so I've got 4 groups, so should we just, if I just give them out, should we see how we go with them, to make sure that I've...
Yeah, if you're in a group of 2, what I'd suggest is if your materials person and your timekeeper be the same person, and
We have a materials manager, a timekeeper, a recorder, so, okay, so if I just shuffle them up, we can just move around, so I'll try not to give 2 pieces.
Thank you.
And the green, I might give you 2 and you have to sort out whether the person does 2 jobs.
That's it, what they're doing.
Pink. Now, your pink. So, yeah. So, what we'd like you to do now is, can you find your group with the same colour cards? So there'll just be 2 or 3 of you. Like I said, you could, if you've got 2 jobs, if you could. Yeah.
Oh, look, we'll come to you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'll go grab that.
I love it.
Can I ask you as well, could you just make sure that you've got your folders, teacher pack with you, because you're going to need pages 103, 104 and 105.
I've written them up on the board if you can get to.
So, now what we're going to do is, you have the key competency sheets from before, but we've split them up. So you're each going to have your own key competency. Okay, so if I just hand these over for you first. Oh yes, thank you. One competency each, please. Yeah. So what we'd like you to do as a group is find at least 3 skills and examples from those 3 pages that we've given you, 103, 104, 105, that fit your competency. Okay. So we're doing this as a jigsaw activity where we're all identifying those from our particular competency. So what we'd like you to do is on that sheet, the competency sheet that Sarah's just given you, could you list on there the 3 that you have found that you think fits your competency well?
So you're writing the skill and the example.
Yeah, skill
and example. So just 3 for your competency.
I think we were going to get rid of thinking and understanding.
Oh, we were going to put them together.
Is that right? We were going to put and relating to others. Was it those?
With understanding.
No, we're going to put thinking like that.
Thinking example.
Yeah. Just because these 2 kind of go that way. Is that okay? Is that all right? Yeah. And you, most of them have overlaps. So you could just do one for both. Does that make sense? Yes.
So you're going to find 3 skills and examples.
And how long do they have, Jenny?
We have.
Are we going to write the examples as well?
Take your turns.
I can't write that fast.
Quicker. 10 minutes? 10 minutes. Alright, 10 minutes for your timekeepers.
Yeah, this is one. No, we're just doing one.
We're working so hard on blank.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, you need to understand as much. Have you got Sarah Cameron?
That's okay.
I'm working on you follow directions.
We could do social friendship linkages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not an LMC, but
for your followers, especially with some of my amazing areas. Oh, is it? I still just smell it. You've listened to this.
So it's too far away to see I wonder what episode we'll have to do.
It's fun following directions.
8 minutes to start.
Absolutely. So which one do you
want?
I was home last holiday, so I think Mum's going to come which will be nice. Yeah, I usually try to go home middle, yeah, and then end of year.
How you guys going? Oh, nice. Easy. Not that easy one.
Oh, managing self, that is probably the easiest. That's the one that we are on all the time. Oh, perfect. And thinking, especially because I know some of you guys are in senior space, how could that look in your space? Like, what kind of things would you do?
We could probably use.
We use those exact things.
These ones, some of these don't work for the senior, but these three probably work right.
You definitely change the language a little bit. You say you're a teacher, that's what good friends do for each other. We talk a lot about teaching you adulting 101, so teaching you how to be an adult. So you would say, this is what young adults do.
I love it also like framing it towards the leadership. Like, man, teamwork, that's like a really leadership skill.
Especially like this year, I would have also class of year 1 and 2s, and like there was quite a few parents that had issues with that last year going into this year because they thought that the idea was they having a year straight year 2. So yeah, it is, and it's been really good for those year 2 to be in with year 1s to develop their leadership skills, and saying that to parents, it's kind of made them realise, oh, it's not a bad thing, whereas it's weird how they think, you know.
Whereas we have all concept classes, except for year 2. Except year 2.
Yeah.
Year 2, that's just because I think
the content was too big.
And that happens.
And I think we're slowly changing the concept of this will to fit the new curriculum.
Oh, the 0 to 3 and then 3 to... Yeah.
Because we were like 0 to 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I think most, a lot of schools were.
And so I think we're slowly going to eventually separate the 3 systems. This is the first year we haven't given threes profile.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's a big jump. Definitely.
It's like 6 to 7%.
Do you think they'll put the 4s, 5s and 6s all together? Or will they do 4, 5 and 5, 6?
I think our school will eventually, because they're all wanting to do ministry leadership. Sorry. We had the ministry come and film our school last week. So.
We also had Erica through just before she was announced as minister.
Oh my god. Yeah, it would do. That would be quite difficult.
We often have, like, it's pretty normal to have people walking through your classroom that you have no idea who they are. People from South Australia today. You have people from America the other way.
Because it was one of the very first British schools, hey, but you never learned anything.
Yeah, it's designed by hand. Absolutely.
Why do you say that?
Just like the layout, the light switches are up high.
But also design by teachers. So like,
Well, he was even like the bag wraps that are like purposely set outside, like I get a bruise every time I go out for the bag wraps because I will like elbow myself or knock my head like the two close together. It's like these metal wraps.
It's really interesting school design. We consider one of the schools around here that they've redesigned one of the buildings. Yeah. So the visual construction was hearing the process behind it was really, really interesting. And then comparing that with the older building, so different. So different. Yeah. I would not want to be in this subject. It's so stressful.
Yeah, we had different pathway-wise, there was no step class, with no step, no inspection.
Oh, wait, I could do that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Of us too.
Yeah. Every time I was just one person, yeah? Should be like, no.
He doesn't even know.
Try again. Do you want me to come back?
It could have been done better. I think it is. Like even these, like our windows have got no curtains.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Especially
if you're doing like, if you're tight on tech, using tech in class, it's not
And even and it's also like a fishbowl everywhere.
Yeah.
And so because we're like 33% of students support this, there's a lot of our learners crying and wanting to change. A lot of the time there is no way to go the time that you can be by yourself and not be seen.
So they have like built-in like breakout spaces and things. Makes it really hard.
Williams found its place under the table.
A lot of kids actually use that space. I've been working in a class and they have a lot of learners with emotional regulation challenges and are finding a lot of them want to be sitting on the things when they're dysregulated. So we've been practicing these strategies. So based on those regulations, we have different strategies to action them. And one of them was build a fort. And so the group that I was with said, oh, that's awesome. So the teachers have chosen a whole bunch of towels in the room with a table. So whenever they need to have a break, they go and put a towel over it and sit under the table. It's so funny, but they love it.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
But we don't have tables.
Yeah, this is true.
We don't have enough tables and chairs to everywhere.
Yeah.
I do a math class, but it was a 3 hours and a half an hour.
We're down by that.
Which is why they send it to I can't make that good use of pictures. So go around the school and know
But the teachers
I did a nice school novel. I was in PCT. I had a one-to-one meeting with the leadership and my helpers and to prioritize.
When you're like, I am prioritizing.
And I was like, I am not going to
Yeah.
I was like, I need to go home now.
This is enough for my day.
My meeting was like, oh, you prioritize. Even if I think they'll send you
Make that make sense.
Share each group. The things that you need to go through every day. And they're trying to throw everything else at you. Change all the things and expect you to be able to just do it. Crazy.
Well, I've only been at
How does anyone make I don't know.
Well, because like we, like, I was sent to it last week and we were and one day they couldn't use it. You know, like,
I can definitely see the range of short
See,
the difference is so big and they just don't get us in.
Yeah,
I was
and I've had that before.
I was in a studio environment the last 2 years and they would just voice actually is this year single cell and someone was sick and they can't get a relief without the children. It's high school.
Is that nice? Thank you very much. Yeah, but I've been in situations and reducing half and then you're just like, to be fair, it's actually going to be easier if it's just me, rather than bring someone else in and it's going to act up, you know? And I was like, I'll take all the good, mate. Fine. Give me a day off at some point. Thank you.
but then you don't really.
No, you don't, absolutely. Thank you to all of our people who are there.
I'm CMI team, but Matoya's it's got the highest.
Which is the issue that Snapchat now.
Oh,
When I started,
I'm going to take a photo.
Yeah, of course. Whereas now, I just send it to my own devices.
Yeah, I am
And other teachers
That's the people that make it.
Yeah. So her little brother.
Okay, what we thought we'd do just to feedback is, rather than us sort of talking around the group, is if we invite each group at a time, and we've got a glue stick, and perhaps if you mind just, we can kind of reassemble the original sheet if you remember from before. But this time it will have your suggestions, the strategies, and the statements. We can stick them up on there, and perhaps if you bring them up, you could just talk, just give us perhaps 1 or 2 examples from your favourites maybe. And then we'll have a lovely compilation if you wanted to photograph them at the end or something, so you've got some lovely suggestions in there. That could be okay. So if we start off with thinking then. And
Who's got the 2 read together?
2 read together, didn't they? So it's thinking and understanding new language and
Yes.
texts.
So for thinking,
We've got practices.
following directions. You follow directions exactly like I asked. You really listened, making a suggestion, having compliments. You made a friendly suggestion and your friend is doing what you suggested. Independence. You have figured that out. Okay,
Thank you. Can I give you this just to stick it? We can stick it on here. And like I say, it's just reassemble the page if that's okay.
Excuse the handwriting.
No, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, relating to others, who is the related, whether they're related
Oh
to
yes,
others?
I've got relating to others.
Okay.
We've got teamwork. You are both working together and helping each other like a team. Listening to friends. You listened to your friend's request and followed his suggestion. That is very friendly. And we've got waiting. You waited and asked first if you could use that.
Beautiful.
Oh, lovely sharing.
Then we've got understanding language, symbols and text.
Yep, that's me. So sizes, positions, I'm going to read 2 at once. Sizes, positions, colours, numbers and shapes. So example would be that train is longer than that track. The blue block is next to the yellow block. There are 1, 2, 3 dinosaurs. And we were just talking about how taking turns, so and sharing the social and emotional language is important as well. So you waited and asked first.
Would you like me to do it for you?
Oh, thank
you.
you.
Okay, then we've got managing self.
Me.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that was you.
Following directions. You follow directions exactly like I asked you. You really listened.
I like that one.
Working hard. You've figured it out all by yourself. And taking turns. You're taking turns. That's what good friends do for each other.
Ooh.
It feels like managing self is quite an easy one. Or not easy, but you know what it's got a rich bank of ideas. It's got one that you could use quite readily. You know, that's something.
And it's kind of like ingrained into our school. We use self-aware. Like, so it's part of,
Thank you so much. And then participation.
So one, working hard. You're working so hard on ... You're really thinking about your next steps. You have been very patient. Thinking skills. You listened to instructions and completed the task using your thinking skills really well. Teamwork. You are both working together well and have been working great as a team. Well done for encouraging and helping your team. That's great leadership.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Great.
Thank you.
So like I said, something that might be quite small. It might be something like I say, if you wanted to later photograph, and you could, you've got those great statements in there.
And thank you so much for picking those up for us. That's so helpful.
Okay, so just wondering as well, could you, about any overlap and patterns that you could see in there, because that came up a fair bit. Did anyone want to feedback about the...
turn taking came out out of it.
Yeah.
We had a really interesting conversation in this group about how you can reframe some of these in the senior space. Did anyone want to jump in and give a little comment about that?
Yeah, so we're for taking turns. It's instead of saying that's what a good friend would do, we'd say something along the lines of that's what a young adult would do, to try and frame it. Because we refer to them as young adults, we teach them adulting 101, so we talk to them about that this is what a young adult would do, rather than this is what a friend would do.
Yeah. And good leadership. This is what a leader does.
This is what a leader does.
Yeah. I love the way you're putting it in your context, because that's the thing, isn't it? We've got, you know, we're teaching you the content, but putting it in your context is just awesome. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we're going to look at one of my favourite things, which is positive forecasting. So we're going to watch, it is one of my favourite things. I'm trying to get better at it in my head, but I'm good at doing it out loud. So we're going to watch a little vignette about this strategy. It is called positive forecasting. And I want you to have a think while we're watching about what you think about the teacher's response to the request for help.
Are a powerful motivator. If you believe a child can learn and you communicate that belief, verbally or non-verbally, he or she is likely to keep trying. On the other hand, if you are convinced that a child is likely to have trouble, you will probably communicate that message, and the child probably won't keep trying. Notice how the next teacher shows her faith in her students. Number of jars that you used? Good. See, you're able to do this. You thought you could not do this. Okay, these are now correct here. Well, that's okay to need help, but you have to be a good sport about it.
So what did you think about the teacher's response to the request for help?
She reaffirmed that it's okay to need help.
She did do that, yes she did.
But she also set the expectation that you can ask for help, but you just got to be a good sport about it.
Beautiful. How do you let a child know that it's okay to ask for help in your space?
I let them know that I ask for help. So they're like, oh, she does it, then I can do it.
Beautiful modelling, yeah.
We often have like a teacher on the mat, so if they've gone to their table, gone to work independently or whatever, anybody that needs help comes to the mat, and so it's just kind of, you don't have to have help every day, but whenever you want help, come to the mat and we'll do it together.
And that's beautiful use of a modern learning environment there, having that option available. Cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back into our behaviour plan groups, and we're going to brainstorm positive forecasting for your student, for your target student. So in your teacher's pack on page 99, if you can turn to that. Gorgeous. So what you're going to be doing on page 99 in your behaviour groups is thinking about your target student and the kinds of behaviours you're really wanting to see for them. So we've already identified a little bit of that in some of the previous work we did together. What are some statements that you could make and include in your behaviour plan positively forecasting that student doing those behaviours? Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up if it makes sense here, if you're a bit confused. Give me a little gauge. Cool. So we'll go into our behaviour plan groups now. I'll come around with our timekeeper sheets. We're going to give you, should we do 5 minutes for that? Yep, cool. There you go. Oh no, I've got timekeeper.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You don't have to do this. Timekeeper. Yeah. 5 minutes. Timekeeper over here. It says timekeepers. Timekeepers.
Oh, there is a clock.
Oh, yeah. 5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. I think I did this on Friday.
So positive forward. So we're really framing that they're going to be.
I'm not here to help you, I'm really
Okay, so you want to behaviour, you want to be
and then I just pay me service.
my.
But now I'm not going to
Listen, so we just definitely.
I'm in the classroom, they email me this comes to show me they've done it. Like I've just received 3 of these teachers. Like it's like thanks guys.
I was wondering what we think. So something like, I know that you're going to sit on the mat and listen to me so well in this next bit of learning. I know that you're going to listen to me like or if you notice that I'm not listening, I notice the next question I ask is
I think you can get your hands to yourself.
So something like that.
I think you'll be really good at getting your hands to
Any other ones?
I'm gonna write that one.
We have very similar students.
Yeah. Mine, you just put down people listening carefully, like you know what to do. Sharing ideas with, if it's their turn to, like, are doing their career time. Put your hand up when you want to share an idea, or just to give something a go, like close up.
Like, they just don't even talk.
I don't do this.
So how would you frame, how would you frame that a lot?
So even when I asked her when she's thrown up, I was like, and I know everyone managed to put their hand up.
Listening or
So it's like
nodding or
I do a lot of them at like I love seeing myself so nice. I wonder if my friends
go for it.
Yeah, that's good. You know, it's this classroom project. He will freeze and he can't even.
You can change it to I know everyone that will link to it.
I know everyone's going to be on the
right
place.
Three terms.
Not share, but to know yourself.
Yeah, so that's just one little step towards one else. So you'd start with like, I know you're going to be able to tell how would you
I know you're
it's just starting to see them up.
It has worked at times, but it's just very like slow motion.
I wonder if
It's like a confidence, like he will repeat after me now.
Oh, lovely.
But who's going to lunch first? Yeah.
Mine is, oh, I know who's going to lunch first. I didn't see them doing this.
Yeah.
I know everyone.
Yeah, it's like
Come
that
to
time
the
that we
mat,
joined
you're
that
right,
was way too much.
come to the workshop.
Because free time is, we do different things.
Oh, I forgot my pencil. Oh, I forgot my pencil. Oh, I forgot this. Oh, you go get this. Oh, no.
Yeah, he responds.
because yours, you have to frame your language when she always goes to maths, does maths, but I'm like, why do you do that? So it's like, I don't need it, I'm just very
Yeah, and that's my issue, like, when everything's all go, I don't have patience in the wait time to give him something.
Or you can do it. I might say things like, you know,
just switch to English.
yeah, I don't know if that's too
Do you know we have
just like,
I think you guys have Google Classroom, right?
no, we need something, and I know English is
And other bit that I find really good. I don't know what's done, we don't find this to like, where do you look every single time? Like,
back to you, okay, fine, next time, like, before I say which functioning, so I've got, I know you've got important things to say,
oh, I love that. That's really cool. And even that acknowledgement.
It's a really good strategy to get the learners to repeat the instructions.
Yeah.
before the
Because it might not be words, but
goes through
and
I think positive forecasting would be really cool for especially
So
I could
something
do
like lining up
like
your behalf.
like
I
I
think
love
you guys
like
can line up by these.
like make
Can you show
a little
me?
cloud or sunshine or something and make it think that that's the forecast. Like give it I will write it, she wouldn't have to be able to read it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it love doing that. Maybe she shares it at home.
And you could even go
Sometimes I
to like a bit
One thing, the problem is we 50 but in a small group, I'll be like, right, what are you going to do? Coffee, coffee, right, what are you going to do? Coffee, and you could do that with each.
We have Ollie. She's just in the same
Lucy wants to get it done. What if
like family school partnerships and email leaders when it happens.
So they give them the agency that it's like giving them the opportunity to move first.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Before holding couples really was so
And it's making us think about that post and how they feel so much
My year 3 course could do this, I know you guys
That's the same thing, like
I know you're going to make a good choice about what you sit kind of like do.
Well, there is a dark purple.
Three stocks, 2 or 3. You guys follow my guys' horns and see this. Yeah, or maybe Wendy. Yeah.
Or is Corpus
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I
commented, but that's right.
You've got a textbook at home.
Yeah,
so
sorry, I left it.
You that's good. I got this. We'll send you a link of all the Hope you feel better. I think I've been a little bit wet
and I think
And we'll just say bye to April.
Oh, sorry.
Feeling
Yeah.
better soon, April.
Me? You all got it because I think there's some flus in my house. Yeah, because my husband got really sick over the weekend. I was fine, but then this morning I was like, oh, I feel something in my throat and.
That's really thoughtful of you. Because if you take your germs home, we will be grateful.
And I don't want to pass it to you guys.
Take care. Okay, so we're going to talk now about praise and encouragement.
When we
Sorry. We're going to think about praise and encouragement in the context of giving kids responsibility. So if you think about whenever we praise someone for positive behaviour, what are we doing?
You're encouraging that behaviour.
You're encouraging it. And the more you encourage it, the more likely that behaviour is to recur. So if you think about responsibility, if you give someone responsibility, what does that person need to know?
That you value them.
So you tell them you value them. What else do they need to know?
You trust them to do it well and to do it at all in the first place.
And you're kind of acknowledging that they know how to be responsible and what that means and what that looks like. So when we give them that feedback, we're telling them all those things. So in this next one, we're looking at compliance. So thinking about compliance, which is kind of a loaded word, but when you think about it as teachers, would you agree that actually we do expect compliance from our kids on a daily basis? Yeah. So it's kind of a core core behaviour that we need to socialise. And I guess even as adults, as workers, we have to comply every day too. I just had to comply in the meeting I was just in. I had to bite my tongue. Sometimes I don't. Okay, so we're going to watch, I think we're watching these 2 vignettes, but we'll split them as we watch them. So we're thinking about compliance, and we're thinking about pacing and the frequency of the feedback.
Positive behavior in the classroom, we are enabling them to take responsibility for their own behavior. For responsibility requires a knowledge of what is appropriate, and our specific praise tells students what is appropriate behavior in the classroom. Notice the function of praise in the next scenes.
Sit down at your table. Look, Lucy is sitting down, and Ben's finding his spot. Oh, I like it that Ben's following directions and Lucy's following directions.
So what was the advantage of pacing those kind of praise and coaching statements?
I assume they're like reinforcing what the instructions were as well. Yeah. To find your spot and then follow the instruction.
Yeah. So what sorts of kids is that really good for?
Children that struggle to follow those instructions.
And we always have them in.
Follow through with their class expectations as well.
Yeah. So reinforcing it.
Yeah.
So this teacher's instructing the kids to go back to their seats. Excuse me.
You're working quietly. And
Stop, Kim's ready.
All these go back to your seats. I see Alicia's back to her seat. I see Natalie's back to her seat. I see Carl.
I do that so often.
Yeah, mine. Sure.
So if you're thinking about your target student, why is compliance really important for your target student?
It's possibly something that we struggle with that student at the moment.
Mine is quite an influencer of the class, so he's just a big personality, so if he is complying or following instructions, it's likely that others will too.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. He's got quite a lot of, he's a big presence.
Oh, that's cool. That's a consideration I hadn't thought of, but that's quite a big one, eh? So in the next vignette, we're going to see a little autistic girl. Her name's Chrissy. And she has difficulty walking and sitting. So some of these vignettes are in special class sessions. And then you'll see Hanok. And he's the little boy with the black hair. I think he's wearing a purple shirt. He's also autistic. But he's got really good motor skills and just very limited language, and he's very oppositional. So they're just at their tables and they're just starting to clean up.
That was helpful. You picked that up for Tuesday. Well, I like the way Christopher is cleaning. Are you helping Chrissy find a spot? You are a good friend. Where are you gonna sit,
There are only 4 of those children. So in that scenario, why was it so effective for that teacher to label that behaviour as being a good friend? What was he doing to be a good friend? He was helping, Because sometimes when we talk about being a good friend, for some children that really needs to be pared down and fleshed out. So it was a really nice example of what being a good friend might look like, doing a bit of helping. She was also encouraging that kind of acceptance of each other. I don't know if we ended up showing it, but he has the best tantrums, that boy. Hard to imagine when you see him like that, Thanks, Jenny.
No,
Have you had lunch?
we'll have morning tea.
we've got lunch at 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So we've got 10 minutes to do this.
So we'll do this one and then we'll have lunch. Yeah.
So we're looking at doubling the impact of praise. So we're going to look at the vignette now.
In the next,
And a teacher, looking at another teacher who's given his students some praise.
whether we're trying to reinforce academic skills or social skills, and regardless of whether the reinforcer is nonverbal attention or verbal praise, the task of teaching a child a new behavior is a long and laborious one. For the fastest progress, we would reinforce the positive behavior every time it occurs. But that is an impossibility given the realities of the classroom. Still, it should be our goal to reinforce desired behavior as often as possible in the beginning. If there is more than one adult in the classroom, they can discuss in advance their behavioral goals for each child and decide what reinforcers they will use. This kind of strategic planning dramatically increases the speed with which students will progress toward those goals. In addition, teachers can double the impact by building on each other's praise. Watch how the teacher in the next vignette does this.
Mr. Rob told me that you guys did a fantastic job. I was very pleased. I have your work. I'm going to show you some of the papers that you did. I want to take this same magic square and I want to change just one letter. But before I do that, let's take a look at the work that you did yesterday.
Okay, so what we're going to do this time is I've got some little pairs cards. We're just going to in pairs have a little discussion, and this is the lead up to lunchtime, so we'll get you to monitor the timing for this. We like to finish by 1 so that we can panic here and start our lunch. So we're going to pair you up. Why is it important for other teachers, staff, teacher aides, people that work with your children, to know the goals for the students in your class? And yeah, we have a little big paper show about that. And let's go around that.
So these are animal cards.
Sorry, yeah.
So the idea is that you have to find your pair by making the noise of your animal.
Oh no.
Oh, nice. There we go.
Whoa.
Luckily, I've got the butterfly.
I did that with my YouTube.
Do you know what I'm grateful for? Not walking out those stairs. I just started the gym. Oh, that's a good reason.
I did a gym class and I've done like 6 months and I'm so sorry.
Take 5 minutes, time is
Make sure you pull down. Anyway,
Oh yeah, it's mind to wine.
Sitting on the mat, but his goal was just to it's just yeah, just for others. But yeah, I guess it's yeah, I agree. I find that really hard. Like some of the residents that were doing that in the classroom, that was their goal just to get in there
It's undermining and not wanting someone to have everything down to the child that they should do something opposite to you. I find that very frustrating.
still very much
you're going to have an issue with someone.
Especially when we have so many behaviours in my hub. So we've got with child BPs, and we have 4 older kids and we have 2 in the school, and there's 2 in my space. Like we were teaching them most democracy. So it's like the little ones is only 2. And you have year 1 to 2, or year 2, and then you don't have any 5, 6 is one space. And then the year 3 for 1, we've got most in my house, which is 50 kids, 50. So they just go out like, because it's not like you have to you have to it's really hard to try to look at we have 1 teacher, and they're meant to be shared out, but always at 1 month. But it's like you don't understand if there's any double learners at that one time.
We do, but it kind of runs a little bit differently.
No, we just have our hands and then we break up between in our classes, our groups, or like I don't know like because my guardian group, and my groups are those
so
it's a lot.
Do you have
I think that's a great point just for that cohesion.
Like what colour?
And I think that kids too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got
I know, but also it wasn't quite.
Definitely different. Okay, so
A different kind of
I'm used to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know any dentists come here to
Oh, we did it for like a morning tea, so that should be good.
Is something you actually would again. So how long have you got for lunch?
40 minutes.
Are you happy with 40 minutes?
Yep.
That's negotiable, because if you said 30 minutes, it might mean you finish earlier, so, do you know what I mean?
30 minutes.
So, it's 30 minutes.
long time.
Okay, so we're going to be back in 30 minutes. So that's just a little bit before post. It's fine enough to go outside.
Well, we can.
I'm good at that. Like, just do 1 0 really. Usually that one. Oh, well, I adopted those. Before they got into those.
I wonder if that's something parents do not get on this all that
Yeah.
Oh, I like that one. That'd be nice.
I needed my son to be like being with the classroom. I could see that he was leading himself and understood nose for it, and I thought, no, it'd be good to meet with them. So I arranged a meeting with and then I talked to them. And we just talked about all the things that I know that you know, the boys aren't the only ones that need reminding.
So she do you know what, like, this kind of, that comes out and she only speaks Chinese. She won't speak Chinese. Even though my mom's not, she would,
Yeah.
no, my speak Chinese.
I didn't say you look though. I said that, is it being a good friend when you...
Eva's mum won't speak to me because I won't speak to her. I speak to her. But she won't speak to me. She only speaks to Howard. Because she looks at me and she walks right past me. She keeps walking. I'm like, oh. Yeah. How you like that? She just speaks to me. I couldn't. I was being behind.
So it was just...
My classes are cardio, but I've got my classes on Friday and then we've got like Saturday on getting late and then I was looking at
Yeah, because you've got 5 weeks at the end.
walk phase, step phase, skip phase,
I'm joking about those periods because this is the first experience of
Do you know what that's like? You know when you walk around the new
I talked to Andy about the timings because you know I have to leave us and then he just said don't worry about it because we have 10 minutes but he said I'd much rather my stays. We've got because I don't want to miss like but I did really want to get back to something last week. I don't need to do that because it's Monday, but on Wednesday last time I anyway, I don't need to do our last day
I mean, just say something. So what you